Hello, hello, hello. What is up? If you can hear and see me, comment in the chat box if you can hear and see me. Comment in the chat box if you can hear and see me. Let me know, let me know. Hey, hey, hey. What is up? If you can hear and see me, put something in the chat box. Let me know where you are signing in from. Let me know your location. So your city, your state, your country. Let me know so I can make sure that you can see and hear me. Takira, hello. I am good. How are you? Andrea, hey, beautiful. I can hear and see you. Perfect. J. Marie, hey. The boss behind the chic. I can hear and see you. Hey, what is up? What is up? How was your weekend? So I see Tampa, Florida, ATL. How was your weekend? How was your Monday? We haven't talked in an entire week. So, how was that? So, how was your weekend? How was your Monday? And if you had to pick just one accomplishment that happened since last week, let me know one thing that you accomplished as well. So I see Port St. Lucie, Florida as well. Hey, I'm from Miami and I live in Atlanta. So I see some people in here that are my neighbors or my old neighbors. But yes, let me know, how was your weekend? How was your Monday? What is one thing that you are proud of that you accomplished? One thing. I want us to think about one thing that we accomplished because it's so important to really pay attention to all of your wins, whether it's big or small, really acknowledging all of your accomplishments and patting yourself on the back because those small things add up to major wins. So let me know in the chat box as you're coming in. Make sure that you let me know that you can see and hear me. But we're also doing a bit of a catch up. I want to know how your weekend was, how your Monday was, what's one accomplishment that you got done over, whether it was the weekend, whether it was the past week. Let me know in the chat box. Andrea said the weekend was great. My Monday is busy and I revamped my welcome series. Yay! That is good. So your welcome email series, you revamped your welcome email series. Do you have text messages embedded in your welcome series as well? If you don't, you can add those on as a bonus. The boss behind is it the chic or the chick? It's missing. I'm guessing it's the chic. So the boss behind the chic said, I just recently started back braiding and had my first paying client over the weekend. That is good. That is good. That's good. So as you're coming in, let me know how your weekend was and what's one major accomplishment. So for me, my weekend was really good. I actually did a lot of things. I count Friday as the weekend too. So over this past weekend, I was able to secure a guest for Hustle Talks. So she'll probably be having her episode in August, which I'm super excited about because she is killing it. She launched last year, and since then, she has been breezing through these streets and really excelling with her products. So I'm super excited to have her as a guest on a Hustle Talks episode because she just has so much insight to give. During our meeting was supposed to be, I think, like 20 minutes. We ended up talking for like 45 minutes just because of all of the insight that she wanted to share. And we had to catch ourselves mid conversation. We would have times where we would say, oh, okay, wait, we can't go here yet. We have to save that for the actual episode, or let's make sure that we write this down for the actual episode because this is going to be so juicy for everyone who's watching Hustle Talks to be able to see. So I know that her episode is going to be really, 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 really good. There's just so many experiences that she has to share. And also just the way that she views things when it comes to building a brand is exceptional, and how she's been able to see success within her business over what some call a short time is also exceptional as well. So I'm super excited to have her as an upcoming guest for Hustle Talks. So that's one thing that I did. Another thing that I did over the weekend was I went back to the adventure park, the Treetop Adventure Park, and I actually completed levels 1, 2A, 2B, and 3. And 4 is a level that they say is super extreme, so they keep it locked, and you have to have someone there with a blue shirt unlock it for you and kind of monitor you while you're on that obstacle course. So we didn't get to do that one because by the time we got to level 4, the park was already closed, so we had to go home. But still super proud that we got all the way through all of those levels, because Andy and I actually did it from level 1 again. And we went back with some friends this time, and we all started from level 1. And I pushed myself through because at some point I didn't want to go. I didn't want to keep on going. I wanted to stop after level 2B, but then I just got up and I did level 3 regardless, and I'm happy that I did it. There were actually some times where I got stuck on the zip line. So the zip lines on level 3 were super long. Like, I don't even know. I wish I knew the length to tell you guys, but they were super long to the point where you couldn't see the finish line of the zip line. So I was basically hopping on there and just swinging and hoping for the best. And out of all the zip lines that I had to go on, I only got to the other side of maybe 1 or 2. All of the rest of them I got stuck on. And the extremely long one, I ended up getting stuck, I want to say like maybe 70% of the way. So I had to like use my upper body strength and pull myself all the way to the actual end of the zip line. And that was not fun. My arms are still sore. I'm not an upper body strength girl. I'm like a lower body strength girl. So my arms are super sore. My stomach is kind of sore because I started using my core a little bit so that way I can pull myself a little bit faster. So that was a doozy, but still proud that I did it. And then I did a lot this weekend, y'all. You would think that the weekend was a full week for me. Another thing that I did, and I had to write it down so I didn't forget, was I attended a networking event yesterday. So I went to a networking event with one of my friends. We gave ourselves, or I don't know if it's really a bet, or we just made a promise to ourselves. We made a promise to ourselves that we would get out there and start to network for the second half of the year. Because back in my shoe boutique days and back in my early business days with the brand Hustler, attending events was always on my radar. At one point, I was attending an event at least 2 times a month and just putting myself out there, getting to know people, because who you surround yourself with actually matters a lot, and it can change the trajectory of your life and of your business. So just getting around like-minded people is important for me, because you want to be around people who understand what you're going through. You also want to be around people who have went through what you are currently going through and can provide insight, advice, guidance in a way. And just people who all around been there, done that, or are currently going through the same things, and they can be a support system to you and you guys can support each other. That is important. Not only that, but entrepreneurship at times, if you shut yourself off and put yourself into a bubble, you make it harder than what it actually needs to be. So just getting out there and getting to know people and networking and getting out the house and getting cute and just being around like-minded women is top tier right now. So we went to another networking event. We went to one the week before, and then I had went to one 2 weeks before that, but we went to our second event together yesterday, which was really fun. And I made this super cute bouquet while there. I'll show y'all. Let me go grab it. Hey, Gina. Hey, Gina. Yes, how did the book review go? How did the book review go? Andrea said, congrats at the adventure park. I went ziplining for the first time. Oh, I just realized. Hey, girl. Let me go grab the flowers to show y'all. So this was my flower box that I made. It's cute, right? And this was my first time making this. Some of the flowers fell while I was driving, so don't judge it, but Really cute. Here's the top. Here's the side. I have to water it today. The back is holding on by a thread, but I'm really proud of it. And it was really cute. And so that event was really, really fun. And what else did I do? So speaking about community and speaking about networking, I also joined a paid community this past weekend. I joined a paid community. It's about $100 a month, and it is for someone who I look up to. She's made millions of dollars already, and I just wanted to be a part of her community to see what I can gain. I believe I told you guys before in a previous episode that I am not, actually in last week's episode, I am not hesitant to invest in something that I feel like will help me propel when it comes to business, when it comes to mindset, life, all the things. So I'm super excited about that, and I can't wait to see what that membership community entails for me, for sure. Thank you, Takira. Thanks, the boss behind the chic. I was a little nervous about it at first because I didn't know how the colors would turn out, but it looks cute, especially in the daytime. So I love it. But yes, so that was my weekend. As you can see, it was eventful. It was filled with networking. It was filled with investing myself. And I am just super proud of all those things. If I had to pick one of the accomplishments, I really can't, because I feel as though every single thing that I did this weekend was an accomplishment, whether it was networking and meeting certain people, whether it was investing in myself and joining that paid community that I told you guys about with the women who is where I want to be in a year or two, or whether it was me completing level 3 at the adventure park. All of those things are accomplishments for me, and those are for different reasons. So I'm super excited about that. Now, today is episode 5 of Hustle Talks. And I know we just did a lot of chatter about our weekend and things like that, but y'all already know, if you have been here before, if you've joined one of these lives before, or even if you saw a replay of a previous Hustle Talks session, you know that these tend to be super juicy. They also tend to be filled with gems. And so, of course, we're not going to sit here and just talk about our weekends, but that's an important piece to me because I do genuinely care about how your weekend was and what you accomplished. But then I also want to share with you like what I do throughout the weekend, because maybe something that I'm doing can inspire you to make a change in your life, which is why I love to share that little tidbit before we jump in. But just in case this is your first time watching Hustle Talks, whether it's live or whether you are catching the replay of this or the podcast version of this, Hustle Talks is a real talk live series where I share raw insight into the entrepreneurship journey. I touch on things such as mindset, life, and business. And throughout all of that, I naturally share branding gems because it's just who I am. As the brand hustler, I'm filled with a bunch of brand tactics, strategies, and all the things. So naturally, I share branding gems. So it is always a good time. Now, if you are catching episode 5 and it is your very first episode, you may be looking back at the replays and wondering where episodes 1, 2, 3, and possibly 4 are. And that is because we actually pull our live episodes down after a few days and repurpose them into podcast episodes. So if you are watching this episode and this is your very first episode, you want to make sure that you go ahead and check out our podcast, which is on YouTube Music right now. And in the future, it'll be on other platforms as well. But right now, it's exclusively on YouTube Music. And we release the recordings of the live sessions on there as well. So before I hop into what we are talking about tonight, because tonight is going to be super juicy as always, I know that when you see the title and it says you don't need a strategy, right? Or strategy is not what you need at the moment, it can be kind of nerve-wracking. You can be wondering like, okay, well, what exactly are we going to talk about here? Or what do you mean I don't need a strategy, right? And so before I hop into why I say that, I want you to put in the chat box, how satisfied are you with where you're currently at in your brand and your business? So if you are extremely satisfied at where you're at in your business, every single strategy that you test out or every single campaign that you run, it ends up being a success, I would say that you are at a 3. So if you feel as though you are at a 3, everything is running really smooth for you, you're super satisfied with where you're at in business and with your brand, put a 3 in the chat box. If you feel like you are, on the opposite of that, and everything that you're trying in terms of strategies, campaigns, and things like that, they're not working for you, and you're on the lower end of the spectrum, I want you to put a 1 in the chat. And if you feel like you have some good days and some bad days when it comes to your brand and your business, put a 2 in the chat. So let me know, how satisfied are you within your brand and business? Let's use numbers so that way I can see the scale. So if you're super satisfied with where you're at in your brand and your business, you feel like all of your strategies work, you feel like everything that you do sticks, that's a 3. If you feel like nothing that you're doing is working, that's a 1. And if you feel like you have some days that are good and some days that are not so good, put a 2, okay? So let me see. What are you? Are you a 3, a 2, or a 1? Put it in the chat box. Bruce said, I'm not satisfied because I feel like I don't have a clear definition of my brand. So I'm a 1. LaDonna said 1. Andrea said 1. The boss behind the chic said 1. Okay. Gina said she's a 3. So Gina, you feel like everything that you're doing sticks? So 3, 1. Stevie said 1. Marsha said 2. Okay, we finally got a 2. The Found Empress said 1. Okay, so we have a lot of 1s. We have 1, 2, and then we have 1, 3, which I don't know if Gina meant to put a 3 or not. But okay. Got it. All right, so now what if I told you, especially for my 1s and my 2s, what if I told you that it wasn't necessarily because your strategy wasn't the right strategy that is the reason why you're feeling like you're stuck and you're feeling like things aren't moving for you? It's actually because you lack clarity. So what if I told you it had nothing to do with your strategy, you being stuck, you not being satisfied with where you're at in your business? What if I told you that it had nothing to do with your strategy, or little to do with your strategy and more to do with the fact that you have clarity? How would you feel if I said that? Would you believe me? Because I feel like in today's world, it's very easy to get caught up in the next strategy, the next thing. Oh, post this 5 times a week, or make sure that you get this amount of people and then send it to, send this email to this amount of people on your list, or make sure that you're going out there and you're handing out flyers at all the events, or make sure that you're doing this and doing that. We go on the internet and we always search the solutions to our problems, right? Or we search for other businesses that are doing it right, that we think are right. And we then take whatever it is that they're doing or whatever it is that people are saying to do, and we run and do that thing. We run and try to execute that strategy. But for some reason, when we try to execute the strategy for our brand and for our business, it doesn't hit the same. It doesn't hit the same like it's hit for the business that you saw it hitting for. And the reason why, at least the reason I believe, it's because there's a gap there, right? And that gap is that clarity gap. It's the fact that the business that you saw executing that strategy and getting great results, they have the clarity that they need, so that way the strategy will actually work for them. Versus you're just taking the strategy and running with it because you think that it's what you should be doing. But in reality, you are still lost in the sauce because there's a gap between what they're doing and where you're currently at, and you have no clarity on how to fix that gap. So I see a couple of you guys are saying you would believe me and that you agree and all the things. And okay, good, because that is the truth, right? The truth is that you need clarity. Okay, so I wrote down some notes today because today we are talking all about clarity, and clarity sounds like it's not this big of a deal, but clarity is actually the difference between successful entrepreneurs who are thriving, making hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, even tens of millions of dollars. The difference between them and the entrepreneurs who are struggling is clarity. Okay? That's the difference. The difference between them, I mean, mixed with a little bit of work ethic and all that stuff. But honestly, it starts with clarity. Once you have clarity and you back it up with the right work ethic and you back it up with the right strategy, that's when everything works for you. Sometimes, even if you are clear, but your strategy isn't all the way together, you still end up making it to where you want to go, which is crazy, right? But if you're not clear and you have the right strategy, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to make it to where you need to go because you didn't know where you needed to go in the first place. Does that make sense? So it's important for you as an entrepreneur to know the who, the what, the when, the why of everything regarding your business, regarding your brand. It's super important. Many of us are just hopping to the how. How can I get X result? How can I get to 6 figures? Or some of you guys are like, okay, how can I just sell out? How can I make $1,000? How can I make $100,000? How can I do this? How can I do that? And you're skipping over the who, what, when, the where, and the why, right? You're skipping over all those things and you're hopping straight to the how. When you need to take time on clarifying all of the other things before trying to hop to what the strategy needs to be for you to get X result. Okay, Sung Singer said, by clarity, you mean knowing your brand and your audience. Thanks for asking that question because I'm actually going to share the points of clarity that you need to know. But before I share the points of clarity that you need to know, and I have all my notes on my iPad, so when you see me looking down, that's why. But before I hop to the points of clarity that are essential for every entrepreneur to know, period, for their brand, their business, before I hop to that, I want to share a story with you. I love me my stories, so I got to share a story because there's some people who are watching this right now and you're like, okay, I feel like I have clarity. Okay, what are you saying? Move on next, right? There's some people that are watching and they're thinking that. But you probably don't have the clarity that you think you need because if you did, you wouldn't be stuck. If you did, you wouldn't be wondering what you're doing wrong because with clarity, you can see what you're doing wrong. With clarity, you know exactly what the next step is because you understand why you are doing the step in the first place. That's being crystal clear. That's knowing the who, the what, the when, the why, and the how. That's what being clear is. So because you're stuck right now, because you have days where you're crying, you don't know what's going to work, you've tested out this, you've paid this person, you've ran this ad, you've tried selling this, you've tried selling that. Maybe you've even tried building your email list. You've tried putting out this piece of content. You tried putting out that piece of content. And still you're stuck wondering why nothing seems to be generating the results that you feel like, are worth all of the time and effort that you've put in. The reason why is because you lack clarity. So I'm going to tell you a little story about one of my VIP clients, right? I'm going to tell you a story. I recently decided to accept VIP clients again, and I have a handful of VIP clients, right? Because I only work with roughly 3 people at any given time when it's intensive and it's one-on-one, right? And so this particular client had been trying to work with me for a few months, or maybe, I think it had been a few months. I don't want to say it's been up to a year yet. So she had been trying to work with me for a few months, but because at the time I wasn't accepting anyone one-on-one, it was difficult for her to get across and get the help from me. She looked into one of my programs, which is the Ultimate Launch Course, and that round for the Ultimate Launch Course had already closed since earlier this year in February. So there was a wait list. She joined the wait list, and she was waiting for the Ultimate Launch Course to open back up, which it's opening up very, very soon. If you join the wait list, you're actually going to get an email this week telling you the exact date because you get first dibs. That's a little side plug. But she joined the Ultimate Launch Course's wait list, and she was just waiting for an option, or waiting for the opportunity, I should say, to work with me. In the meantime, between time, she felt like she wanted to just get up and running still. She had this idea, she wanted to act on it, and so she started executing to the best of her ability. And I don't fault her for this, because if you're a true hustler at heart, you're not going to just sit around and wait just because you notice that one door is closed at the moment. You're going to do everything that you can to keep moving the needle forward, right? And y'all can let me know if y'all agree or not in the chat box, and if this would have been you as well. And so in an effort to keep the needle moving forward, she started executing certain things to help her prep for her launch. One of the things that she decided to do was to hire someone to design her logo and her website. I think that was it. So to design her logo and her website, and to like integrate an email marketing platform or something like that into her website. So she hired this individual based off of someone that she had saw or heard recommended this person. This person ended up designing her logo and her website, and she accepted what was given to her, right? And then when she got the opportunity to work with me and I saw what the person was working on, I was like, wait a minute, what is this? It's a hot mess. We're not doing this. And that is when she started to open up to me, saying she didn't like anything that this person had designed for her. She felt like she told her one thing. What she told me, that this wasn't what she had in mind. She told me that she was just accepting whatever was given to her because it was basically like picking the best from the worst, like picking from a bunch of rotten apples. She was picking what she felt like the person could provide, what she felt like the person's skill set could give them, right? And so when she told me this, I immediately got upset. But I also said, okay, I am a problem solver. Let's get this person on the phone. I ended up speaking to this designer on Zoom and had maybe a 45, 50-minute conversation with this person, just to find out, using my brand strategist, like spidey senses, as well as the fact that I've owned an agency before with designers that have worked with me, and we had, certain processes, and listening to this designer talk, there was no process. There were no questionnaires given. There was no contract signed. There was no vetting of this person done. And even on the designer side, there was no intake questions done. As a person who has to accept clients, right? Our job as a designer, right? When I am in my designer bag and in the agency, our job is to make sure that we ask our clients questions that have them like think about things they hadn't thought about before. And we ask questions to pull out certain answers from them, so that way we can understand what their full vision is to design whatever it is for them, to design your logo, your website, etc. Right? And so my spidey senses automatically called BS on this person. And I started to drill her with questions. She couldn't answer them, all the things. Push comes to shove. I tell this lady to send me her portfolio. I also tell her to send me a couple of other things. We never get that email. Instead, we get an email saying that she is no longer going to work on this project anymore, and that my client can go ahead and follow the guidance of me to design a website and a logo that she feels like is to her satisfaction. Okay? That's basically in summary what the email said. So me, I'm pissed because number one, I am asking my client, why would you decide to work with this person? Why would you decide to work with a person who you hadn't really seen their portfolio? You are going off of maybe one person that you heard said that they were a good designer. Not only that, but if this person didn't ask you any clarifying questions and you weren't able to clarify your vision to her, why would you trust her to design something for you? That's two. And if you weren't fully satisfied with what you were getting and you know that it didn't match up to what it was that you had in mind, why would you accept it? And why wouldn't you, once again, clarify to her what it is that you actually wanted. And so through me being upset, after I calmed down a little bit and I assessed the full situation, I then understood what the issue was. The issue was that my VIP client had been such a hustler that she had hopped to do things, but she hopped to do things before she had the necessary clarity. Do y'all see that? So before she had the necessary clarity that she needed, she's just started acting. She just started doing random strategies or taking action, and she just was doing stuff. But now, because of the clarity that she lacked, the result was not what she wanted. The result is something that she can't even use. That is money down the drain, all because of lack of clarity. So that is the importance of you being super clear on your brand. That is the importance of you being crystal clear on everything when it comes to your business and when it comes to your brand. When you lack clarity, that's when you lose money. And I'm talking thousands and 10,000s of it. When you lack clarity, that's what causes you to lose momentum. And when you lack clarity, that causes you to lose focus. You get distracted really easily. You end up doing what everybody else is doing because there was no clarity in the first place. You lose money because you invest in the wrong things, or maybe you invest in the right things, but you are not clear on what it is that you want or need. So you end up getting a terrible result from it. You lose momentum because it's hard to keep going when you don't know what the next steps are. Okay? Let me know what y'all think about that story in the chat box. What do y'all think? Do y'all agree that it was lack of clarity? Do y'all agree that it was lack of clarity? Let me know in the chat box. And I saw that somebody asked about, did she have brand guidelines? No, ma'am, she did not. She did not have brand guidelines at all. Brand guidelines would have helped her be a little bit clear, Andrea. You're right. But no, she didn't have those. So I'm happy that somebody mentioned that, because we're going to get into that when I highlight the points of clarity. Okay? So what I want to do tonight, although my client before working with me lacked clarity in many areas, I'm going to share with you the 5 essential areas that you need to make sure that you are crystal clear on before doing anything for your business, before doing anything for your brand, okay? And as I go through these 5 essential points, as I share these 5 points with you, if you are someone who you feel like you can benefit from having a little bit more clarity in this area, I want you to comment, I need help with this. So as I share the points, there are going to be 5 of them. If you resonate with this, if you're like, oh my goodness, yeah, that is me, I definitely need to get a little bit more clear on this, comment, I need help with this in the chat box, okay? And make sure that you're actively doing this, because I have something at the end for you, okay? Y'all ready? Put a yes, all capitals, in the chat box if you are ready. Are y'all ready to hear what the essential points of clarity are? Are y'all ready? Let me know. Let me know. All right. Let me see the yeses in the chat. Okay, I see the yeses. I see the yeses. Make sure you have a notebook. Make sure you have something to write down, because this is going to get good. Okay? All right. So, like we said, it's super important for you to be crystal clear. You need to have clarity when it comes to your brand and your business. the first point of clarity that you need to make sure you are crystal clear on is your product. Your product. More specifically, you need to be crystal clear on the result or the transformation that your product provides. If you are not clear on what result your product provides, why would someone want to buy it? If I have any hesitation as to if this, let's say this hydrating body butter is going to help me with my eczema, why would I buy it? If I am not crystal clear on the fact that this cleanser is going to clear my dark spots, why would I buy it? You need to be crystal clear on your product's results and transformation. Whether the transformation is something that you can physically see, whether the transformation is something that happens internally with your consumer. You need to be crystal clear on what the result is that your product provides or the transformation that it provides. See, now you may already be selling products, and if I were to go to your website and I go to your product description, you probably have one sentence, if you have anything. And if you're guilty of this, it's 9 times out of 10 because you have no clarity on the result or the transformation that your product provides. And if you do have clarity on the result or the transformation that your product provides, wouldn't you want to brag about that? Shouldn't that be what you use the description for? To brag about what the result is that your consumer can get from buying said product from you? See, when I go to people's websites and there's no description, I immediately want to click off. I don't get enough information about your product to want to buy it. And neither are you a brand that's big enough yet that I have built years of trust and years of connection with to just buy it off rip without seeing a description. See, even when I go into the store, let's say I go to Target and I see a brand that I'm familiar with, but they come out with a new product, I still read the back. I want to know what the little about blurb says at the top. I read the directions, how to use it. Sometimes I even go on Google to see what they have about it on their website and to see what else, like what other information they can give me so that I can make an informed decision on whether or not I'm going to add this to my shopping cart and go check out. What makes you think that anyone is going to want to shop with you if your product descriptions are empty because you lack clarity on what exactly your product does? Remember, if you lack clarity, how can your consumers find it? If you're confused on what your product does, I'm confused as the consumer. The more clear you are on what your product does, the transformation it gives, the results that it gives, the more clear I am to make a conscious decision to actually buy this product. And so if you are someone who can honestly say that, yes, I actually don't describe what my products do efficiently. I actually don't have really detailed descriptions. I don't have SEO friendly descriptions. I don't have descriptions that resonate with my audience or tell them how to use my product or the use cases of my product. If that's you, then make sure that you put in the chat box, I need help with this. Because what happens, like I said, is if you are not clear, the person who you're thinking is going to shop with you isn't clear either. And so what you need to do to make sure that you get clear on your product's results and transformation is you need to do one, research. If you've already sold this product, get out there and do the legwork and put some surveys out there. Tell some past customers to tell you what the results were from using your product. If you haven't sold any products yet, why not beta test it? Why not go through a series of tests that you're running with a small group of people and they give you feedback on whether or not it gets them X result that you think it should? Not only that, but are you quality inspecting your products? When you quality inspect your products, you can see if your product is up to standard to deliver the result or to deliver the transformation that you intend for it to give. But in order for you to do all of that, in order for you to beta test, quality inspect, and to do any type of surveys for feedback, you first need to know what in the world your product is setting out to do. So you need to perform what's called a problem and solution analysis. Take your time and actually develop your product. Take your time and actually source your product so that way it provides a solution to whatever problem it is that you're intending this product to help with. Does that make sense? Y'all still keeping up with me? Y'all still keeping up with me? Let me know in the chat box. And once again, if this is something, if performing a problem and solution analysis, if performing surveys and beta testing and quality inspecting is something that you could use help with, make sure that you put in the chat box, I need help with this. Okay, so Andrea said yes. Stevie said, I'm wanting to test the product to prep for launching. Ruth, will this strategy work for business service-based owners or is geared towards product-based? So Ruth, if you have a virtual product, so if you have a non-physical product or a service, beta testing works for you too. I beta test my programs all the time. Before I released the VIP experience, I did a test and research period with one person. Well, actually it was with 3 people, but I did different versions. But the version that I'm offering right now, I did with one person. And this first group of people, they got an exclusive price to work with me for my VIP 3-week experience at a lower rate because they're part of my beta testing group. So you can still beta test even if you are in a service. This still applies. All right. Now, the second thing that you want to make sure that you are crystal clear on, the second point of clarity that you must have as an entrepreneur is you need to be crystal clear on what your vision is. What do you ultimately want? What do you ultimately desire? A lot of times you're moving with no idea of where you're headed. In the story example that I shared about my client and what she experienced before she worked with me, she was moving with no clear vision. It's important for you to understand what the vision is. Because if you have no vision, and if you haven't taken the time to actually understand, interpret, and actually make the vision plain, it's like you driving through a thunderstorm with, nothing. Like you can't see anything. Have you ever driven on the highway and it is pouring? Like it is raining super hard. Even if you have your windshield wipers on, they're not helping because the rain is coming faster than the windshield wipers can wipe it away. It's super foggy, dark, and cloudy. You can't see anything in front of you, and you are driving probably 5 miles an hour because you have no idea what's in front of you for real. You have no idea what that exit sign that you just passed said. You have no idea where you're at. And I've seen people even pull over to the side during a storm like that to wait until the storm passed so that way they can clearly see where they're headed. If you have no vision, it's very similar to you being in a car, driving through a thunderstorm, barely seeing anything. You have no idea where you're headed. You're just in the car driving. The more you do that, the more time you waste because you're going to be constantly on this road headed to absolutely nowhere. Or you're constantly on this road and maybe you have some idea of where you're going, but you haven't made it crystal clear. So you're moving really slow. You're going 5 miles per hour. It's important for you to have a sort of discernment of what it is that you are going after, where it is that you are headed. That is what a vision is, right? So it's important for entrepreneurs, period, to pray for discernment. That is the one thing that you always want to pray for. You want to be able to discern where you should be headed, even who should be in your life and who's going to help you get to where it is that you are headed. But pray for discernment of the vision. Not only that, but vision map. I am huge on vision mapping. I like creating vision boards. I also like breaking down my goals and doing it dry erase style so that I can visually see my vision on paper. I'm making my vision plain. Have you ever heard the saying, make your vision plain? That means take it out of your head and put it on paper or put it somewhere physical where you can see it and remind yourself of where you're headed. The reason people make vision boards at the beginning of the year is because when you look at your vision board, you can see all the things that you wish to attain throughout the year. When you see those things, it's a constant reminder of what you should be doing or where you should be headed, I should say, and then you develop a strategy of what you should be doing to actually get there. If you don't have a vision, you end up waking up, going about your day to day, not really knowing what road or path that you're going down. Last year, I didn't make a vision board at all, right? I was so caught up in my wedding planning process that we started off the year and didn't make a vision board. In all of my years of entrepreneurship, I have always made a vision board. I've also been very intentional about where I hung my vision board in the house. It was always in a place where I knew I would pass by at least every day. It would be very hard for me not to see this vision board. And last year, I made no vision board. Last year, I felt super lost going throughout the year. Did I have some points where I did experience some wins? Yes. But because I didn't have a clear vision on what I wanted out of 2022, I don't feel like I got it. Other than me getting married and going on a great honeymoon, I didn't feel like I got it. I went to Bora Bora, Dubai, and did a couple of other things, celebrated a close one's 30th, went on a cruise with my mother-in-law and my mom, and I did all these things. But still, when I look back on 2022 sometimes, I don't feel as if it was as fulfilling as it should have been simply because I didn't do a vision mapping. Okay? So as you continue moving through life and business without a vision, without making your vision clear and taking it out of your head or out of your heart, the less fulfilled you're going to feel. And you actually may be doing things that should be fulfilling, but because you haven't made your ultimate desire or your ultimate life plain on this vision board or this vision mapping, whatever it is that you use for vision mapping, you feel as though you're not really getting anything done. Does that make sense? So it's super important that you are crystal clear on your vision. Remember the story that I shared about my client, right? If she was crystal clear on the vision that she wanted for her website or for her logo, she would have been able to discern that this particular designer was not who she needed to hire. She did not need to pay this lady. Not only that, but maybe if it was the right designer, she would have been able to discern what she wanted her brand visuals to look like so she can get the visuals that she actually wanted instead of getting visuals that were the opposite of what she wanted and now has wasted a lot of money and a lot of time because now things have to be redone. Now that we've worked together to outline what her vision looks like and to outline certain things about her brand, now she has the clear direction on where she's headed. Okay? So, the third area that you want to make sure that you are crystal clear on when it comes to your brand and your business is you want to make sure that you are crystal clear on your goals. Have you actually set goals or are you just saying your dreams out loud? I want you to ask yourself that. Have you actually set goals or are you just saying your dreams out loud? Let me know in the chat box. Have you actually set goals, or are you just saying your dreams out loud? Comment that. Which one are you doing? Are you actually setting goals, or are you saying your dream out loud? And I'm going to tell you the difference between the two. When you are saying your dreams out loud, what you're doing is you're just saying, oh yeah, I want to make 6 figures one day. I want to own a successful business one day. I want to live in this neighborhood one day. I want to have this car one day. I want to travel here one day. I want to sell this product one day. That's what saying them out loud is. When you intentionally set goals, you're setting SMART goals. Your goals are specific, your goals are measurable, your goals are attainable, realistic, and they're time bound. Time bound is possibly the most crucial piece of the SMART acronym, period. Once you put a deadline to your dreams, they immediately become goals. And once you put a way to actually measure these goals and to measure the success of these goals, or these dreams, I should say, they become more and more like goals, right? So instead of me saying, oh, I want to be a 6-figure earner one day, or I want my business to earn 6 figures one day, I can take that dream and I can say, I want to earn 6 figures by year 3 of me owning my business full time. Now I can be even more specific. Okay, I'm already full time. It's now July 2023. By July 2026, I want to have accumulated at least $100,000 in revenue within my business. It's specific. I've told you the exact amount. I've put a timeline to it. And then guess what? I made it measurable because I put what it is I'm measuring. I'm going to measure my revenue, and I'm going to make sure that I have a website up, and I'm not taking orders via DM or just in person. I have a website, or I have some type of merchant account that's going to track all of the money that's coming into my business. So now it's specific, it's measurable, it's attainable to me and realistic to me. And I've set a deadline. So now it's time bound. I've taken that dream of earning 6 figures one day and I turned it into a goal by adding a deadline, making it measurable, and being specific. That's the difference between saying your dreams out loud and actually being crystal clear on what your goals are. So if you are one of the people who are just saying your dreams out loud, if you are guilty of that and you're not actually putting any other intention behind them, that can be a big reason why you are not hitting those milestones that you want to achieve within your business and within your life. Be crystal clear on your goals. Your goals are kind of like taking your overall vision of your ultimate life and putting mini flags throughout that journey. So your vision is to get all the way to, I don't know, the end of the road. And along the road, there are these mini flags that are representing those milestones that are getting you there. And those are what your goals are ultimately. So whatever your ultimate vision is, you have these goals along the way that once you achieve them, gets you closer and closer to living out that ultimate vision of yours. It's important for you to be crystal clear on all of your goals, period. Within your business, you need to be not only setting revenue goals, but you should be setting what I like to call experience goals and growth goals. So you set money goals for your business, which have to do with how much revenue you want to bring in, how many products you actually want to sell, how many new customers you want to bring in, all of those things, what your conversion rate should be, what your goal conversion rate is. All those things are money goals within your business. You then have your experience goals, and those experience goals have to do internally with your business. So the satisfaction of your customers, the satisfaction or the speed in which you get orders out or you complete a certain process for your consumer, right? or the speed and efficiency of your team. All of those things are experience goals. You then have your growth and engagement goals, which are the things such as, boom, how much do I want to grow my email list by? How much do I want to grow my text message list by? How much do I want to grow my social media channels by? How much engagement do I want for this duration of time? How much of an increase in engagement do I want? How many new subscribers do I want? How many new followers do I want? Those are the engagement and growth goals that you set for your business. So there are 3 specific type of goals that I set for my business and that I suggest you set for your business. And the more clear you are on each one of those goals, the better off you're going to be as an entrepreneur. See, a big mistake that business owners make, new, old, in between, a big mistake is you get out there and you just set a money goal, and 9 times out of 10, you haven't even set a specific and time-bound money goal, but you just set a money goal and then you beat yourself up along the way whenever you don't hit it. When in reality, there's so many things that are tied to money outside of money. The experience that your customers receive is tied to how much money you make, because guess what? Whether or not they return and shop with you is in part due to how they felt like their experience with your brand was. A result of you growing your engagement on a social media platform is probably going to be more traffic to your website. And if you know what your conversion rate is, then boom, your purchases automatically go up. It's honestly just plugging a bunch of numbers into each other. There's a reason why, like, I can literally look at something and see how something has performed in the past because I'm looking at my conversion rates. And then I can say, okay, if I know that I want to make X amount of money, I know that I need to get X amount of traffic to this particular page based off of what my average conversion rate is. And if I get this amount of traffic to my page, I'm looking at the top channels that I could bring this traffic in from and what I've done in the past to generate similar traffic or traffic on a smaller scale that now I can scale up to push more traffic to my page, to then convert them based off of my conversion rate to then get the result that I want. That's me being crystal clear. I'm crystal clear on all of my numbers. I'm crystal clear on all of my goals, and I can work backwards to determine what that will look like. In the past, the reason why I was able to do 11,000 in 11 days or 45,000 in, what was it? I can't remember, a couple of days. It was less than a month, right? The reason I was able to do those things was because I intentionally sat down and mapped out all of my goals, not just in the revenue space, but also in the other 2 sectors as well. And I mapped those things out and then I worked backwards. Even when you look at revenue itself, like I said, it's not just how much money I want to make. Your revenue goals are tied to how many products you need to push, what your conversion rate looks like, and all of those things as well. So be crystal clear on those things when it comes to goals, and that will help you get over the hump that you're probably facing of throwing random strategies at the wall. You're throwing random strategies at the wall and nothing is sticking because you haven't figured out how to even interpret your numbers. And before interpreting your numbers, you haven't even figured out what your goals look like or what they should look like because you have absolutely no idea of what your numbers look like, what they should look like, or what numbers you should even be looking at or actually setting. So if you need help in this area, if setting intentional goals, if paying attention to your numbers, setting engagement and growth goals, setting experience goals, and setting revenue and money goals for your business, if those are areas that you struggle with and how to connect them to your strategy, if this is an area that you struggle with, then I want you to put in the chat box, I need help with this. Put in the chat box and don't be scared. If this is something that you struggle with, if you struggle with making the numbers make sense, taking what you want out of your head, putting it on paper, and then making the numbers make sense and working backwards to then create a strategy that will get you to your goal. If you struggle with that, put I need help with this in the chat box. Marsha said, I love this. Huge said goal plus no deadline equals no goal. That's true. I see a couple of people said that they just say their goals out loud. All right. Okay. So Ruth, thank you for being honest, Ruth. Ruth said, I need help with this. Remember what I said earlier. Do not be afraid to say I need help with this, because at the end, there's something that I have in my pocket, but I'm only going to share that with you guys if I see that a lot of people need help with some of the things that I'm sharing today. Okay. Okay. So the Found Empress said, I need help with this. Bridget said, I need help with this. M. Bankston said, I need help with this. All right. Cool beans. All right, y'all ready for clarity point number 4 and number 5? Because it gets deeper as we go. So we started off with the first point, which was being super crystal clear on your product. We then talked about your vision, and then we talked about your goals. Number 4 and 5 gets even better. The fourth area within your brand and business that you need to be crystal clear on, I'm going to say brand for this one, but the fourth area that you need to be crystal clear on in your brand is your audience. I saw someone say this earlier in the chat, but the fourth area you need to be crystal clear on with your brand is your audience. Stop trying to sell everything to everyone. The more time you waste doing that, the more you're going to feel as if you're a failure. Stop wasting your time saying that my products are good for everybody. No, they're not. And even if they are, the answer is still no, they're not. There's a bunch of people in the world, billions of people at that. I cannot tell you what the world would look like if everyone walked around looking the same, talking the same, acting the same, having the same exact problems. Can you imagine walking around seeing thousands and thousands of people acting just like you? I would probably get a headache. I'm not even gonna lie, because I don't know. I don't know how people deal with me. On a basis, I feel like I'm a lot. I mean, I'm a good a lot. But me seeing me thousands of times over, that's too much for me. That's way too much for me. I couldn't do it. And I want to put that into perspective, because when you say that your product is for everybody, you're basically saying that everybody has the same problem. Everybody looks the same, thinks the same, acts the same. And so everyone has the same problem. That is far, far from the truth. No one wants a brand that doesn't want them. And here's what I mean. If I come to you and I say, oh yeah, I'm selling this, but anybody can really get this, I don't really feel important. Versus you coming to me and you telling me, yeah, this brand is perfect for you. It's for newlyweds who are, entrepreneurs. They're within the age range of 20 to 35. They have a lot going on and they could really use this to maximize their time while staying, super stress-free, da-da-da-da. Now you're talking directly to me. Now you're speaking my language. Now I'm tuned in. Now I feel special. Now I feel heard. Now I feel seen. Now I want to buy whatever it is that you have to offer me, because you spoke directly to me. Trying to speak to everybody is like standing outside and yelling at a crowd of people and nobody's turning around and paying you any attention. Have you ever felt like that? Have you ever been in a space where there was a crowd of people and maybe you were looking for a certain someone and you were just yelling like, hey, over here. Or maybe you were even yelling that person's name, but the person has such a common name that anyone could have been yelling that person's name. And you're looking for this person and you can't seem to find them through the crowd and no one is paying you any mind. They're just letting you go on the hunt searching for this person and no one's turning around and paying you any mind. If you've ever been in a situation like that, that is the equivalent of you not having specific messaging that speaks to a specific audience that makes that specific person turn around. right? And so it's important for you to think about who has the problem that your product, whether it's virtual, whether it's physical, is created to solve. Who needs what you're selling? The answer is not everyone. Trust me, the answer is not everyone. There's a reason why even something as essential as water, there are so many different types, so many different brands. And you probably know someone in your life right now who only drinks a certain type of water. Heck, you might be the one who only drinks a certain type of water. And if that's you, put it in the comments. If you are a picky water drinker, put it in the comments what brand of water you drink and why. Because I really want to know. If you are a picky water drinker, put that in the comments because water is something that is essential. You need it to survive. But yet there are people who are picky about their water everywhere that I go. I have a friend who will die of thirst. What's the water bottle? I think it's Evian. If Evian is not anywhere in sight, she will die of thirst and then pick up water on her way home before she drinks any type of other water that we may have. Water is essential, right? Yet there are people out there who prefer spring. There are people out there who prefer purified. There are people out there who prefer flavored water. There are people out there who prefer enhanced water. And then more specifically, certain brands of the water, because they have a certain taste to them. They have a certain density to them. They have a certain experience that comes with that water. Somebody said, Laura said, I don't drink Dasani and Aquafina. Ew, yeah, I hate those two too. I hate Dasani, I hate Aquafina. I don't like Zephyr Hills either. I don't like Dare Park at all. Dare Park is disgusting. What else? I think those are the ones that I really don't like. But I'm good with just about anything else. And I don't drink City Punch. So I don't drink water from the faucet at all. At all. Even if I am dying of thirst, I would have to be about to pass out dying of thirst to drink faucet water. I don't like City Punch at all. So yeah, think about who has the problem. And so one of the reasons that you may be confused on who your audience actually is because you're confused on the results or the transformation that your product provides. And that goes back to point number 1 that I made. Do what's called a problem and solution analysis and determine what the problem is that your product is providing a solution to. Once you do that, then you work backwards to determine who has the problem. I like to do what I call a target audience quadrant, as well as this chart that I use. It looks kind of like an X, and I map out what my audience's ultimate desires are and what's stopping them from getting there, so I can further understand how painful the problem is to them and why it's that painful. That helps me to get into the mind of my audience. Not only that, but that gives me a head start on things that I can research to learn more about them demographically, geographically, psychographically, and more about their behaviors as well. So once again, I start off with the problem and solution analysis. I do what's called a target audience quadrant, and I do this X chart thing where I see the distance between their ultimate desire and where they're at so that I can see how painful this problem is for them and why it's that painful. I then use that knowledge, right, that I just got from doing these exercises to then jumpstart my research about my audience to learn more about them demographically, geographically, psychographically, and to learn their behaviors as well. Stevie said, I definitely do not drink faucet water. Me and you could be friends, Stevie, because I will not. And do not try to mask it to me. I hate when you go to the restaurant and they give you this tall glass of ice water and it really came from the faucet. Don't try it. Ask me if I want bottled. I will pay the $5, the $10 for the bottled water. Do not bring me water from the faucet. I do not want it. But yeah, so if you need help with clarifying who your audience is, who you're speaking to. Put I need help with this in the chat. Because once you can understand and you have a clear picture of who your audience is, that's when you can develop your brand's messaging to attract them. That's when you know what content your audience will respond to. That's what helps you create better content. That's what helps you develop better visuals. That's what helps you develop better graphics, better campaigns, better strategies. Everything that you do, believe it or not, surrounds your brand, but more importantly, surrounds your audience. The more you understand your audience, the more you can move a certain way that will always get you results. So if you need help with this, put I need help with this in the comment section. And please make sure that you give this episode a thumbs up, whether you are watching this live or you are catching the replay version of this. Give this a thumbs up to let me know that you like this episode so I can keep planning some juicy ones like this one. Okay, I see a couple of people saying I need help with this in the chat. Thank you guys for being honest. There's some people that are watching this right now and you need help with all of these things so far, but instead you want to be quiet. Clarity starts when you can clearly articulate what it is that you need. So if you're sitting back and you're watching this and you're not admitting that you need help with it, that's one of the reasons why you're stuck right now, because you're not clear enough to take clear action to get to where you want to go. All right, so the last and final area that you want to be clear on, you want to be super, super, super clear on this right here. The more clear you are on this, the better. And this fifth point is, of course, your brand. When I say brand, your brand is not just your visuals. Your visuals are the end result. Your brand is everything that happens internally. Your brand is your story. Your brand is your purpose, your mission, your values. That vision adds to your brand. Your brand is your audience. Your brand is the core foundations. Your brand is your positioning in the market. Your brand is so many things. Your brand literally is the core of your existence. Once you're clear on what your brand's purpose is, as well as your brand's personality and who your brand is, everything becomes easier. If you can't answer the question of what type of personality your brand has, then unfortunately we need to go back to the drawing board, or we need to take it a step back and we need to get you clear so that you can answer that question. If I ask you, what personality traits would your brand have if it were a human being? You should be able to answer that question right now. If you can't answer that question, you aren't clear on your brand. If you can't answer the question of what is your brand's tone, what is your brand's voice, what type of style does your brand have, you're not clear on your brand. If you can't tell me what your brand's core purpose is, what your mission statement is, what your values are, you're not clear on your brand. Your brand's purpose ignites everything that you do. Your brand's values are the guiding lines, or the guiding principles, I should say, that guide the way that you hire, that guide the way that you move as a business, that guides everything operationally for your business, that guides your customer experience. That's what your values do. And your purpose helps you make decisions as well. Your brand story helps you to understand the pain points that your audience is going through, but also helps you understand how your brand connects to them, connects to your audience. It puts the meaning and it puts the culture within your brand. That's what your brand story does. Your brand personality is the way that you showcase All the things that you work on internally for your brand, whether it's your PMVs, your purpose, your mission, your values, your vision, all the things, your brand's personality then showcases that, so that way it can connect to the intended audience easier. Right? And then I'm going to take it a step further. When you're clear on your brand, you can create an experience that makes sense to your brand, but that resonates with your audience as well. When I ask you the question, what experience do you want to deliver to your consumer, to your audience, to your past customers, what is your answer? And if your answer is just going to be, oh, just great customer service, that's not an answer. It's important for you to know what the brand experience is going to be like. The reason why you like going to, let's say, Target, I like going to Target over Walmart. The reason why I like going to Target over Walmart is because the Targets that I go to, their shopping carts don't squeak. The Targets that I go to, there's never a line wrapped around the corner. The Targets that I go to always have some food places at the front that aren't run down. The Targets that I go to are always maintained. The Targets that I go to are always on point with their aisle numbers. So that way, when I look in my app on where the frozen French fries are, it tells me exactly aisle E1. The Targets that I go to create a certain experience for me that resonates with me and the type of person that I am. I'm a person who I'm always doing 1,000,001 things at once. I don't have time to go to Walmart where everything is always all over the place. I don't have time to go to Walmart and wait in a line that's wrapped around the corner. And then next thing you know, when you get close to the checkout, the person told you that they're going on break. And now you got to go wait in somebody else's line. I don't have time for that, right? I'd rather go to a space, or a place, I should say, that has a better experience for me. The experience that Target is creating for me, at least, I can't speak on your Target and where you live, but the experience on what Target is doing for me is completely different from the experience I get when I walk into a Walmart. The experience I get when I go to a Popeyes is completely different than the experience I get when I go through a Chick-fil-A drive-through or walk inside. The fact that Chick-fil-A got an order wrong the other day shocked me, because they've never gotten my order wrong before. But when I called, I lied, one time before, 2 or 3 years ago. But when I called the other day to complain about it, she literally asked me, the manager was like, okay, well, what do you want to compensate for it? And I was like, I thought you were just going to say you're just going to make the thing over again and I could just come back and pick it up, or come back and pick it up tomorrow. She's like, no, what do you want? And I'm listing out these things and I'm like, I felt kind of guilty asking for additional things that I didn't pay for in the first place. McDonald's would have never did that. Popeyes would have never did that. The most they would have done was probably correct the order, but they're not going to sit here on the phone and ask me, what else do you want? So that way I can make your experience a pleasurable one. The experience that I get is completely different. So when people interact with your brand, whether it's in person or whether it's virtual, what is the experience that you want to deliver to them? And once you have defined that experience, what are the legs that are going to be the foundation of that experience? And what are the processes? What are the steps? What are the quality inspections that you're going to go through? What are the necessities that you're going to make sure that your brand has, so that way it can deliver the brand experience that you intend for it to give? Once you're clear on that, everything makes sense. You create better content. You connect to your audience easier. And I'm not just talking about social media content either. I'm speaking about email content, text content, video content, whatever. You're able to have conversations with your audience, and you're able to know exactly what would trigger them because you've done the work. You develop trigger words. You've developed pain points for your audience. You have a brand personality that attracts a certain type of consumer, so you can use certain colors, or you can use certain pictures, or you can use certain verbiage, right? And that's one of the things that when I worked with my client to develop, as we started working together, one of the things was I wish I had this clarity before I hired her. Before I hired the designer lady, I wish I knew all of this. I learned so much about my brand, so much about my audience. I wish I knew that before when I hired her. How many mistakes have you made in your business or in your brand because you lacked clarity? Not only that, but what are you stopping yourself from achieving? What success are you stopping yourself from achieving because you don't have the clarity? If you're not clear on your product and your product's features, or even how to relay that, how to develop a product description, how to develop product titles, create better product visuals and graphics. If you aren't clear on how to do that, put "I need help with this" in the chat. If you aren't clear on what your vision is and how to make it plain, how to take what it is that you see yourself getting out of your head and actually making it plain so that way you can attain it and then turn it into goals, put "you need help with that" in the chat. So put "I need help with that" in the chat if that's you. If you struggle with creating SMART goals, goals that actually make sense, that you can look at and you can measure, and then you can look at your track record of data and make strategic decisions based on those goals, then put that "I need help with this" in the comment box. If you are stuck with your audience, you don't know who these people are, you know that there's somebody out there that you are setting out to help, or maybe you just can't break out of that annoying thought that you need to service everyone. If you can't get that out of your head, if you keep thinking men, women, kids, everybody, all ages, all races, all problems, all this, if that's you, you're guilty of that, go ahead and put "I need help with this" in the chat. And especially if you know that you shouldn't be targeting everybody, but you need the help to learn how to research. You need the help to learn how to perform target audience exercises, such as the target audience quadrant, such as developing pain points for your audience, developing psychographical things, demographical things, geographical things, behaviors, and things like that about your audience to really build out the full persona. If you need help with that, put "I need help with that" in the comment box. And last but not least, if you haven't done any of the groundwork for your brand, or maybe you've done a little bit of it, and you really don't know what your purpose, mission, values, vision, your brand story, you haven't crafted one, you don't really know what your brand personality is, you haven't even thought about what a voice, a tone, or anything like that is, you don't have brand guidelines, you don't know how to connect what your brand personality should be with what your visuals should be, you don't know how to connect none of that stuff together, comment "I need help with this" in the comment box. So what we just shared today, right, are the 5 essential points of clarity that every entrepreneur needs for their brand. I promise you that once you're crystal clear on all 5 of these things, entrepreneurship becomes easier. I'm saying that as a person who has made I was going to say tens of thousands, but at this point, I'm saying that as someone who has made 6 figures and hasn't been consistent on social media, simply because I'm clear on everything. I'm clear on exactly how I need to speak to my audience, and I'm clear on the areas I need to show up in. I'm also clear on my brand, what the products are that I provide, what the services are that I provide, and what the features, the transformation, the results, and all those things are, that I can hop on my Instagram story 1 week out of the whole month and sell out of seats to the Ultimate Launch Course, because that's what happened in February, right? In February, I went live on YouTube, and then I posted a couple of times on Instagram story, not on my Instagram feed, and I sold out of all the spots that I had for the round 1 2023 edition of the Ultimate Launch Course, right? I did that without doing the common strategy that you hear people say, "Oh yeah, post every day," or "show up every day." Heck, I didn't even put out a video for real every day on YouTube either. But I was able to develop a strategy that worked for me because I was crystal clear on what my goals were, crystal clear on what my vision is crystal clear on what my products, results, and transformation and features and all of that, crystal clear on my audience, and also crystal clear on my brand. I'm able to get results like that without stressing myself a lot. I mean, honestly, I stress about other things, but without stressing myself a lot because I'm crystal clear on all 5 points of that. So I see a lot of you guys are saying that you need help with this. And if you stuck it out this far, I got something special for you to share with you. So make sure that you got your phone. If you're watching the live on your phone, then maybe write a note so that you could do it right after the live is over with. But if this was super impactful for you, if this episode was really good, make sure that you give it a thumbs up. Share this with someone that you know needs to see this. Another entrepreneur, maybe an aspiring entrepreneur, someone who isn't an entrepreneur yet. Share this with them. But I'm going to give you a special something if you are watching this. I have a exclusive membership club. It's called the E-Hustle Club. And in that E-Hustle Club, I have lessons on everything that I shared with you today. On every single thing that I've shared with you today. Audience, brand, product, goals, the whole 9, right? I have lessons on all of this. More importantly, we meet every single week and we have new lessons. It's refreshers. It's things that really put the fire underneath you so that you could keep moving. Not only that, but what I really love about the E-Hustle Club is we now have live action strategy sessions where you get to see me work on building a new brand and you get to really pick my brain while I'm working through these things. You're a fly on the wall as I'm working through these things and you get to pick my brain. We started this back in, I think it was early June. We started this and they loved it. The E-Hustlers loved it. So we made it a permanent thing. And so what I'm giving you guys, for all those people who said I need help with this, I saw your names in the chat box, in the comments. I saw your names. I want you to head over to Instagram and DM me the word clarity, all caps. DM me the word clarity, all caps. And I am personally going to respond to you and give you a link with a free 7-day trial to the E-Hustle Club. Okay? So DM me the word clarity on Instagram, and I'm going to respond personally with a link and instructions on how to activate your free 7-day trial within the E-Hustle Club. It is an amazing space to be in. The lessons alone in the weekly sessions are worth it, honestly. But there is a community aspect to it as well. And so if you were on this episode, earlier in this episode, I mentioned that I recently joined another paid community and that I have a goal of attending networking events multiple times a month from now until the end of the year. And I have been doing it. This past weekend, I went to another networking event. This past weekend, I invested in a community that is more than the community that I have. It's costs more than the community that I am presenting to you today. But the point is, it's super important to, make connections and have community, but even more important to learn from somebody who just knows what to do, right? So if that's you, you now have an opportunity because you're going to get a 7-day trial where you get to hop in there. You get to experience it all, especially the lessons, y'all. The lessons alone are worth it. The lessons alone are worth it. But if you are someone who also wants to meet like-minded people or you value community, when you hop in there, make sure that you introduce yourself in the group chat. Make sure that you are posting your questions in the group. Make sure that you are answering people's questions or sharing motivation. Because the one thing that I think a lot of people get mistaken when it comes to virtual communities is they just think of it like a take type of relationship. You log on, you get all the lessons, you watch all the sauce, you hop on the live lessons that we have on Zoom and you learn all the things. And then you go in the group chat and you just scroll and you see what everybody else has going on, but you never really pour back into that community. Within my community, within the E-Hustle Club, I no longer want that. So if you are going to be someone who's just going to lurk and sit around and not contribute to the community, not share what takeaways you got from the lessons, not share how you're applying this to your business, to your brand, to your life, not share how you are working through some of the struggles of entrepreneurship to help someone else who may be going through those struggles as well. If you are not willing to do that, then the eHustle Club is not for you. But if you are someone who you are a true hustler at heart, you are going to get in there, you are going to watch the recorded lessons, and you're going to immediately start to work on applying them. If you are someone who you are going to show up to our live sessions that we have every Thursday, whether it's a Q&A, whether it's an audit, whether it's a lesson, whether it is a live action strategy session, whatever those sessions may be for that current week, if you are going to show up and you are going to engage and you are going to take the information in, but also pour back into the community on the live and also within the group, then this is the perfect community for you. So DM me Clarity, all caps. I see that some of y'all already did it. DM me all caps Clarity on Instagram. Go to Instagram. You can either respond to my story and just respond and say Clarity, or just hit message, DM me the word Clarity, and I will send you a link to a free trial for the eHustle Club. And this is only for today, tomorrow, and the third day. So on Wednesday, this goes bye-bye. So if you are watching a replay of this or the podcast episode of this, you got literally 72 hours to get this trial. And after that, I'm no longer giving it out. It doesn't matter if you DM me Clarity or not. So if you want it, make sure that you DM me and get in, because we're going to have another session this week. And y'all want to be in that session as well. So any questions about what we talked about tonight? My IG name is The Brand Hustler, LaDonna. Dang, that's crazy. So on Instagram, I am The Brand Hustler. I'm The Brand Hustler everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, my website, everything is The Brand Hustler. That is what you call branding, ladies and gentlemen. It's probably just all ladies, but still. That is what you call branding. So I put my Instagram up here. It is The Brand Hustler. That's the link. And actually, I'm going to put IG handle. So anybody have any questions? I'll answer about 3 questions if you have questions. And if not, I'm going to hop off because I stayed 30 minutes longer than I was supposed to. And I always do that. And I'm trying not to do that anymore, but I just be going. Thank you. I'm happy that you liked it, Hughes. Thank you. So DM me Clarity. Actually, I should have wrote the whole thing. Clarity. LaDonna, there shouldn't be 2. I'm pulling it up right now. If you see another one, I don't see 2. I see 1. I don't see 2. I see 1. So yeah, that is me. The first and the second one is me. The first one is my personal account. It says I am Chanel Q. The second one is The Brand Hustler. There's only one. All right, any questions? No question is a silly question, so ask your questions. Any question about any of these things that I shared? All right. I don't see no questions coming through. I'll wait for like 30 more seconds. Was this helpful? Was what we talked about tonight helpful? I know that this was a title that was kind of crazy as far as you don't need strategy. So I understand that some of you watched this on a whim. It wasn't something that was just, it's not your typical title. So for those that actually showed up and caught the live version of this, shout out to you, because you know how important it is to get all the information. You know how important it is to show up consistently. So shout out to yourself, because there's some people who saw the title of this live episode and thought, girl, I don't need clarity. I got all the clarity and strategy that I need. And they missed out on a lot of good information. So shout out to you for actually showing up. Okay. I see Laura said, do you think that if you just are starting a business that we could use your expertise? By just starting, what point are you at? Like, what have you gotten done so far? Do you actually have an idea already, or you're saying you don't have an idea and you're starting from scratch? Do you have an idea? You already know what the products would be? Let me know what stage you're at. Hugh says, I was lucky enough to happen by because you were live. Thanks. I'm guessing you're saying you just happened to see that I was on live. Good. And so, Hughes, I go live every Monday at 8 p.m. unless it's like a holiday or something is happening, which I try to do my best to put on the community tab. So on YouTube, there's a community tab that looks kind of like a feed. And I put an announcement on there if I'm not going to be going on live. But you can set on your calendar every Monday at 8 p.m. to come to this channel, and we're going to go live and talk about something, okay? And so typically I actually put up what the episode will be about the Thursday before. So that way you can have like a heads up. Laura said, an idea. I'm a graphic designer, but I want to market my services. You have an idea, you're a graphic. So you're already performing graphic design. So it's not an idea. You already do it. Or you know how to design, but you don't have clients at all yet, and you want to market your services to get new clients. I'm trying to make sure I'm interpreting it right. Sung Sinner said, me too. So you happen to catch this live. So Laura, I'm just going to assume that you don't have clients yet and you're a graphic designer by trade, and now you want to actually offer services. That's what I'm going to take it as. As far as that, I mean, you do have the idea. You do have the idea. And as far as me helping you get the services live, I could help you. You would probably benefit more from a one-on-one, simply because when it comes to my programs and things like that, it's beneficial to people who have virtual or physical products. So I would say if you want some help, because you're more service-based, I would say to book a one-on-one with me. There's a link, or there will be a link in my description box, to a clarity call. That's kind of like a session where you get to ask me all the questions that you have, and I get to give you all of the answers that I have. As many questions as you ask me is as many answers as you get. And so it's a pick my brain type of session. So that seems like something you would benefit from. So I'm going to leave the link in my description box, and you can book the clarity call. Don't take long on that though, because I tend to block my calendar off for those if I'm super busy. And because I have 3 VIP clients right now, as well as a 6-month coaching client, my calendar, I tend to block it off so that they can grab those dates. So yeah. All right, y'all. So have a great night, and I will see you next week at 8 p.m. on Monday. Ciao.